Good morning, everybody. As we mentioned, I'm one of the senior programmers for 12D Model and the lead for 12D Synergy. So we're going to be talking to you about 12D Synergy this morning, and some of you may have heard a little bit about it at the What's New seminars and previously at the 2012 conference. There's been quite a bit of development that's gone on since then as we've been working with some industry partners. So we'll take you through some of that today. So what is 12D Synergy? Well, it's a data management and project collaboration system for the architectural, engineering and construction offices. So really that begs the question, what is data management? And really a data management system is an advanced file management tool that will help you track and manage your data. Typically these systems will focus on single files. And when we're talking about data, we're talking about not just your 12D model data, but the DWGs and 12DAs that you're reading in, things you're producing, everything that goes along with your job, even to Excel spreadsheets and reports. Why is data management important? At the end of the day, what you're working on, what you're producing, your business is largely about this data. It's really important. And I hope that you're all doing backup. I hope that your business involves a backup process, and that protects your data. But doing a rollback when something goes wrong is really costly. You tend to have to roll back the entire tape. You've got to locate your data. That takes time, and that's going to cost you money. And that doesn't help you manage what you're doing. It doesn't help you manage your work and what you're working on right now. It doesn't help you find your data easily, and you don't have that capability to go back in time for a single file or a single data set. Why is project collaboration important? Well, the data we're talking about, it's not just about what you produce in 12D Model, CAD or Office, it's also about why that data is there. So we're talking about details about the work that you should be doing, the conversations between your team and your clients, and the information about what data was sent to who and when it was sent. Trying to find this information in a traditional system is time-consuming and sometimes almost impossible. So you've got a 12DA that's come in from a third-party consultant. It's sitting somewhere on your network drive. Maybe you know where that is. But where's the email that went along with that? Where's the conversation that says, this is when this came in, this is how it was produced, this is what it's for? Finding that information with just Windows Explorer and Outlook is really hard together. So there are a number of data management systems out there. So what makes 12D Synergy different? One, it's integrated with 12D Model and it's integrated tightly. So everything that you can do, accessing files, it can all be done from within 12D Model. So you're not flipping back and forth between systems that don't know about 12D Model. It's actually able to manage folders, and this is a really important point. Most data management systems out there don't know about folders. You have some files, and yes, they sit in a folder structure. But when you're dealing with a folder-based data set like 12D Model, like TubeFlow, where the data changes dynamically, they have no way of handling this system, and that's what 12D Synergy does. So it's the only data management system that actually can manage 12D Model data well without having to do little fudges and kludges and manual workarounds that are ultimately error-prone. We built it specifically for you guys. We've been working with you for a long time, 27 years, as Lee mentioned, and we know how you work. We know the workflows that you want to do, and we've built the system around those to make those really easy. It does work with all file types, so it doesn't matter what you throw in there, we're able to handle it. But at the end of the day, it was about producing a system that was easy to use, that was easy to customize and easy to install. Because what you're doing is you're doing design and surveying. You don't want to spend all your time having to do the data management as well. It should come naturally. It should be a process that just becomes part of your normal workflows. And of course, it's been developed by a company that you know well, that you trust, and that you know is responsive, that you can contact and reacts to your needs. So during this conference, you will hear a little bit about 12D Synergy. What we've got right now is a high-level overview. I'll be talking some concepts and giving you a brief demo so that you actually can see what we're talking about. We've got a talk later today on 12D Model plotting being managed by 12D Synergy and along with some other workflows. There'll be some user experiences and case studies from some people who are using it right now. And there'll be some technical demos and walkthroughs during the Birds of a Feather sessions. Plus we have a stand. If you'd like more details, feel free to go and visit the guys at the Synergy stand. So this product actually began in 2006 as an internal source control platform for 12D solutions. We sort of said, we've got all this data, we've got all these versions, it's a big product, how do we manage that? And this is where this was born. And over the next few years, we started talking to people in the industry saying, hang on, what we've got might be able to help you. So in 2011, version 1 of 12D Synergy was born, and we did our first demo at that 2012 conference. We went into beta for version 2 in 2013, and we're pretty much releasing version 2 today. I'm going to show you a bit of a bit of a video that our marketing team has put together, which should give you a really good overview of what the product does. So I'll just try try and get that started.
12D Synergy, Data Management and Project Collaboration for the Architecture, Engineering and Construction Office. Simply easier. A big problem in an AEC office is that there are lots of busy people, surveyors, engineers, project managers, and many other stakeholders such as clients who may want access or changes to designs, reports and drawings. Naturally, lots of data and documents are created. So how can an AEC office keep track of data and documents? Sure, you can try getting by using Windows Explorer, Outlook, or an Excel spreadsheet, or you can use generic tools such as SharePoint. But if you want something tailored to suit your business workflows, be ready to pay for it. It's a shame, really. Understandably, most companies get stuck. That's why we built 12D Synergy. 12D Synergy works the way your office works. It handles all file types and can manage the data created by all geospatial software packages. And of course, it's the only data management solution that can handle 12D model projects. 12D Synergy is scalable so it can be used in a small office, in a big multinational office, on a small car park project, or even a multi-billion-dollar highway project. With 12D Synergy, we give you a Windows Explorer-like user interface. You will know where everyone is up to in the project, what co-workers are doing, who has the right version of the document, and you can ensure there is no unauthorized access to your data. With 12D Synergy, you will be able to collaborate with your co-workers by assigning tasks, posting messages on forums, and sharing documents with them. Publish files to be accessed by people outside your organization. Enforce file naming policies. Automatically file emails from Outlook. Have version control and an audit trail for all data and documents in the system, including 12D model projects. Have the ability to search across all your data, including contents, and handle document transmittals and much, much more. So what do you get when you license 12D Synergy? You get software to run on a server and software to be run on every computer that requires access to the 12D Synergy server. You can run 12D Synergy in your office network or access it remotely from outside the office provided you have internet access. We care about security as much as your IT department, so 12D Synergy encrypts the data. We have a feature that allows you to run offline too, and 12D Synergy will handle all the file synchronization when you go back online. And yes, as part of the licensing, you will get all the support you need through our support portal, as well as phone and email help from our support department. We have made it really easy to get started.
Right, so I'll leave that there, and that's a really broad overview of what it does, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail now before I go into a bit of a demo. This is a bit of a diagram of your typical 12D model environment. You'll probably be working off a network drive, you've got a Windows server, and all your files are sitting on that network drive. Every time you open that 12D model project, every time you edit it or you're sharing data from it, you're transferring large amounts of data over the network. The consequence is a slow network for everybody, which means a poor experience. It can get pretty tough with all that information. And we're talking about 12D model projects that are gigabytes in size, so it can be quite slow. When you're doing version control with 12D model, you've got, really at the end of the day, all you can do is take copies of that information. So you've got multiple folders sitting on your network drive that are copies of that several gigabyte project. How do you know which version was which? How do you know why you went from which version to the next? Getting back to that information is really difficult and just taking up a lot of disk space. But this problem is really the same for all other data types. It doesn't matter if it's 12D model project, it could be a DWG, it could be a Word document, it doesn't really matter what it is. So we've all seen things like my document version 1.docx, and this is the real one. Actually, no, this is really the real one. How do you know which one is the right one? And then we've all got questions like, I'm on a network drive, my file was here yesterday, where did it go? Did someone move this file to someone else? Has IT come in and sort of restructured your drive without you knowing? Where has it all gone? If I have to go out and, I'm going out of the office, do I just take a copy of this data? What happens if someone changes it while I'm gone? How do I reconcile those changes? It's really difficult. And then I've got this piece of work that I'm meant to be doing. Where is this file? So 12D Synergy solves these problems with these concepts of data management and project collaboration. So when we're talking about data management, several things. We're giving you a Windows Explorer-like environment, but we're doing what's called check-out and check-in. So when you want to work on something, you say, this is mine, I'm working on this. No one else can touch it. They can read it, they can have a look at what you did previously. When you're ready, you push it back up to the server, and it's really intuitive, it's really easy to use. But it also gives you revision control and version history. So you're keeping, almost, in a way, you're keeping a copy of everything as you go. And you can see all your changes to all your files. So who made the change, when it was changed, and why. So that information is all kept together with your individual files. And that also gives you then that capability to roll back to previous versions to say, what happened? Why is my control line stuffed? Who did this? Can I go back and look at what was there before? But it also means that you're always working with the latest version of that data. So you know, you don't have to go hunting down which one is the real one. It's right there in front of you every time. We also give you capability to do things like constrain access and visibility in a much richer way than Windows can give you. So you can control, who can read data, who can write data, who even can see that the data's there. So just very briefly, just so that we know what we're all talking about as we go forward, the data in 12D Synergy is broken up to something called jobs, right? A job contains things like collaborative elements like forums and tasks, but we also have, you can have little jobs sitting underneath that. But then you start to get into traditional sort of folders and files and 12D model projects, but they all sit under a job. And on the right-hand side of the screen is a screenshot of what it looks like within 12D Synergy. So despite some things that you're not familiar with, generally it looks a little bit like Windows Explorer. So we've got two types of folders in 12D Synergy. We've got normal folders, which you're used to working with. They operate roughly the same way. You move to a folder, you've got your files there, you can start working with them. And we have this concept of managed folders as well. And this is really about these dynamic folders like 12D Model, like TubeFlow, where files can appear in these folders at the whim of another product. They can vanish, they can be changed. So 12D Synergy can actually track these changes for you automatically. You don't have to say, this is a new file, this is a changed file, oh, this one's no longer there. It'll do it straight away. So that was designed around those types of applications. But at the end of the day, what we can then do is reduce the traffic on the network by only delivering what you need and what has changed. So when you go and say, I'm going to work on this 12D model project, you're only getting the things that have changed, the models that have changed since you last worked on it. And vice versa, when you're finished, you're only sending up the data to the server that has changed. So it means your wait times for starting are quicker. It's just much easier to use at the end of the day. It's better for everybody, so you don't have these whole network being consumed by 12D model users. We also recognize that, yes, it's not just about the 12D model data, so we have plugins for applications like Word and Excel and for Outlook, and then we also have plugins for BricsCAD and AutoCAD. And they can do things like, you can take your Xrefs out of 12D Synergy and access them directly. And that leads me to the next point about reference tracking, because we know that there are lots of file types that need other files that go along with it. So you might have a Word document that has a template, or a DWG that has another DWG that should always be there. So we can track those references for you. If they get moved around, we know where they've gone. You don't get that problem where if the folder structure changes, all of a sudden you've got to go find it again. That's done for you. And it means that you're also working on the right version of those files as well. So if you're working on a document that references something else, both those files will always be up to date. And we also provide a capability to track transmittals with a document register. So you're issuing documents to a client, plots, whatever it's going to be. We know and can track and show you when certain documents were issued to who and when and why. And it can actually help you issue those and do emails and all sorts of stuff like that. There's a whole rule system in here that we're not going to touch on now, but at the end of the day, it really gives you the capability to predefine all your job structures, because your jobs probably look, you have a certain folder structure that you want on every single job or on different types of jobs, and we can do that for you really easily and take away the guesswork out of what should go where. And also you can control the names of your files. So if there's data coming in from the field or whatever it's going to be, you can make sure that they actually comply to your naming standards. And the same goes for the jobs that you're creating. We do have a thing in 12D Synergy that, like in 12D Model, we have a whole attributing system, and they can be attached to anything in the system, to folders, to files, 12D Model projects, pretty much everything. And the idea is they just help you define and describe your data in your own way, like you do in 12D Model. And that can be stuff like, well, has this file been reviewed yet? Or where did it come from? And which client is this job for? And these actually become quite important in the overall process, and as we go through, you'll probably see that. It's great to have all this information, but it's really useless if you can't find it later. So we've spent a lot of time building a really quick search into 12D Synergy. So you can search across the job that you're working on, or you can look across the entire system and every single job that's in there. And you can look for that data based on file names. You can even look at contents, so specific words in PDFs, documents, DWGs, all that sort of stuff. You can look at those user-defined attributes. And you can even look for other details like who changed this file last, who has it checked out still, when was it last changed, all that sort of stuff as well. 12D model management is obviously important to you, so we give you that checkout and check-in capability. It's the same as working with files, so it should, once you know how to use the system, you know how to use it for everything. That means you also get that history and rollback, so like when you're working with a Word document, you can get the whole history for that 12D model project. But as I mentioned before, you can access files in 12D Synergy directly from 12D model, so if you've had something come in from that third party, it can be stored in a version-controlled manner in Synergy, and you can get it from within 12D model. You can access it just like you would in a file box as normal. That also means then you can store your customization in there. So all your customer user lib, your user lib, everything like that can be accessed directly from 12D Synergy. You can just point it at a 12D Synergy path. Really simple. It's no different to normal, really. But that also means you're getting the data on demand from the server when it needs to send it to you, when it has changed. And that also means that version control for your symbols and line styles and all that stuff is there. So if something goes wrong, you can get back to it and make those changes and deploy it really simply. So those attributes we talked about, they're available in 12D model as normal project attributes, which means you can automatically use them. So you can use the client name, you can use the job name, you can use the location, coordinates, whatever it's going to be, automatically in your plots and your title blocks. You can use them with some new features that have come in V11 and your SLXs, so you can control inputs to panels. You can use them in chains and parameters, and you can even use them with some new things in some of the design snippets. We also have that capability to take that data out into the field. So all your 12D model projects are stored in 12D Synergy. How do you take that out into the field? So get 12D field, you want to go do a site survey, you can offline it. And this means, because you may not have a great connection out there, you know, maybe you're on a 3G connection or something, but that's not going to be enough to download a several gigabyte 12D model project. So you can prepare it first, it's called offlining. It basically sucks it out of 12D Synergy, stores it somewhere locally on your computer, but that gives you all your symbols and line styles alongside with it, so everything you're going to need, plus any localized shared. So you get like a complete package that you can go and do your survey with. When you come back into the office, you kind of click a button, it sucks it all back in, it works out what the changes are. So it's really nice and easy to, you know, get your data in and out. You also get the ability to control and track that access to 12D model projects. So there's a whole permission model about who can do what. You can share directly from 12D model projects as well. But you can also, you get finer control over the permissions that you wouldn't get in 12D model on its own with permissions. So who can actually share which particular models and tins. And then also, you know, at the moment, if IT moves your structures around, your folders go somewhere else because they think it's a better idea, all of a sudden, all your shares break. You get that rebind panel, you've got to go and pick everything again, it becomes difficult. That's no longer a problem with 12D Synergy, it doesn't matter where you put it, we can always track it. So a little bit about project collaboration. As I mentioned before, it's not just about the data, it's about the conversations around that data, and we can help you keep your data and your discussions together and show you how they relate. So it's really just about saving time, making sure you've got everything where you need it. So we've got things like forums, and they're like the 12D model user forums. So if you've used those, you know how they work. It's just about encouraging conversation. It's all there together. You don't have to go and hunt for emails and stuff like that. But you can store emails in 12D Synergy as well, and there's a whole Outlook plugin which takes care of that for you. You can leave notes anywhere on pretty much everything in the system, and those are like post-it notes, you know, like go and have a look at this, you know, please fix this, etc., etc. You can have whole conversations there as well. You can also subscribe for notifications about the things that are interesting to you. So please tell me when this 12D model project has been checked in, or when a file is added here. And you can also push notifications out to people to say, you should go and have a look at this because I'm done with this now. We have a whole task system in there, and they can be as simple personal to-dos, or they can be tasks that drive your whole project. And then, you know, just get scheduling and tracking as well. So you can model your existing processes. So most likely when you start a project, you're doing something the same way every time. And so you can model those processes with 12D Synergy, have them all available to you, see where people are up to, and also it can be set up to send automatic alerts. So when one thing finishes, something else starts, the next person is notified automatically, this has been completed, please start work now. And you can also kind of connect these tasks to other bits of data within the system. So this task is actually related to this 12D model project, which has the benefit of saying, well, this is where you should be doing your work, but also it can keep you up to date with that work as it's completed. We also have a whole sort of customization system in there, which I'm not going to go into in any real detail here. It's kind of like 12D model macros, but it allows you to sort of say, well, is this change actually allowed to happen? You know, this file hasn't gone through the review process yet, so it can't be issued. It allows you to react to changes. So if someone does check some data in, well, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to create a task for something or send an email. You can generate sort of custom reports to do whatever you need across the entire system, like how often are these files changing, who actually hasn't done any work in the last month. And it can be synchronized with external systems, which has been quite important because we have a number of clients who actually have accounting packages. So before they can start work on anything, the projects actually have to go through those accounting packages, then they get approved, and that's when they start work. So we can monitor those. 12D Synergy says, okay, this is approved now. I'm going to go and create the right job folders, everything that you're going to need, set up the right teams, do whatever you want. So you don't really have to do anything. It gets approved and it's all there waiting for you. So I'm actually going to go into a bit of a demo now to show you what it really looks like, because that was, you know, just a lot of concepts. This is the opening screen for 12D Synergy, and it just shows you what you've been working on at the moment, your recent jobs. You've got some attributes on the right and a cover image if you so choose. So you can search for jobs really simply. You just connect up to your server, and we're working on Emu Park. So again, when you do a search, you get a whole bunch of information about what that job is, a description if there is one, who created it, and all these things, these job attributes are all custom defined. When you install the system, we give you some that we think you might need, but they're all there for you as well. So it gives you a bit more information than just a name on network drive. You've got a lot of detail there. So I'll take you through the screen here. On the left-hand side, we have our job tree, which looks a little bit like Windows Explorer. On the right-hand side, you've got your job dashboard. And this is just, it shows you what you're working on right now. And this is fully customizable by your administrator. So if you've got attributes that you want to go in there, you can put them in there. If you've got notices that you want to go out to your team, they can go in there. Everyone can see what's going on. You've got down the bottom here everything that you have checked out for this job right now. So I'm working on this DWG. It's just a reminder, this is what you're probably doing. On the bottom left, this is actually all your active items across the entire system. So all the tasks that are assigned to you, you're probably working on more than one project or job at a time. So that's everything that you should be doing, plus all the files that you've got out across all those jobs as well. And I'll take you through this tree now. I'm going to come back to the task list at the end, but the first thing we have is the team. It's just about visual information, right? So this is the project manager, this is the surveyor, this is the design engineer. Some of this could be largely cosmetic, but you can also use it to assign permissions across the job. So only the project manager can do this, or maybe they shouldn't be doing that much at all. Only the surveyor can modify these 12D model projects, things like that. And you can contact people really easily from there as well. Your clients could be in here. So you've got all your email addresses, everything you need, all the details about them, and they can all have attributes attached to them as well. I don't think I actually have any set up, but it's all there. We then have forums. So it looks like the user forums, right? Been built to look like the user forum, so it's familiar for you. So you dive in, you've got some categories, you've got some topics, and again, it's just having that visual information. You can link through to things in 12D Synergy, so we've got something here that says, you know, read your OH&S manual. There's a link down the bottom that would take me there within the system. I'm not going to go through issued files at this point. That's about document transmittals. They'll be discussed in a little bit of detail during the Birds of a Feather. We've got our sub-jobs. So you might have a sub-job for management or whatever it is. It could have contractor contracts or whatever you're going to have in there, and that can be even hidden away from people who don't need to see that information. And that has, you know, a similar structure. It's the same thing, just, you know, repeated. And then you've got your typical sort of folder and file structures here. You've got, you know, some DWGs, you've got maybe some PDFs, doesn't really matter. But down here you've got some 12D model projects, and they're treated a little bit differently. So this is what it looks like when you're looking at a preview for a 12D model project. You know, you've got a preview, you've got your project details, you've got a description. So we can pull the project details live out of the project, so as they get updated, they get repeated here. And obviously the preview's updated live as well. So we can have a look at the history, for example, and you can actually see who made a change and when, and it's all me in this case. But you can go right back to when it was created, when I first imported the design, when I started adding my shared data, and then I started doing other things, which didn't update the preview, but you know, it gives you a really quick overview. It's really easy to do a rollback. I can roll back to that version really quickly just by clicking this button. I get the right version of those files at that point in time. You for review to see what's gone on, or if actually something seriously has gone wrong and you need to go back and get something or look at something, you can. I'm going to show you how you work traditionally with normal files though. So I've got a Word document here. Pretend it's a progress report. I can double click it like you would in Windows, and it says, what do I want to do? Well, I want to check it out because I want to edit it. I could open it in a view-only mode. Maybe someone else has it checked out. I just want to have a look. Gives me a read-only way of doing it. I can't change the data in this case, so I'm just going to check it out, and I get this version of the document, and I'm going to type to whom it may concern. I don't know why, because it's a progress report, but there you go. Oops, wrong button. Shut that down. Now the first thing that happens is that 12D Synergy says, this has been edited. What do I want to do? Well, I do want to check it back in. And now I'm prompted for a description. I have to describe why and how I changed this file. I can't just hit enter because it will say it's blank. To make life easier, your administrator or whoever's controlling the system can define common things that you're doing, like this is a daily check-in, this is a milestone check-in, and this can prompt you for more information. So you can just be a click to sort of fill something out. Now you'll notice there's also a little attribute here which says draft. So I could change that if it was ready to go out of a draft status. This is again a user-defined attribute. So I've got control, and if I had checked it out again, I can change that from a list of things, which is again has been defined by me. Lots of things we can do here. So this area down the bottom just shows you lots of information about the file, who created it, when it was created, when it was last changed, who did it, all those attributes. We've got notes, so Tim's left me a little note here that says, you actually haven't done anything here. Maybe you should go and do it. When can we expect it? And I can leave a reply and say, oh yeah, really soon. And then I can choose to notify someone, which I won't do right now. But away we go, and that's now on there. This is really easy. It's all just together. That data's just kept together. I'm going to have a look at the history of this document. So again, I'll just turn on the preview for this, and you can see it over the life of the. So this was the last change I did just a minute ago, and then the version before. I can go right back in time and say, I just want to have a look at this version right at the start. Nothing in it. Or I can do a rollback, so I could actually, this last change should be invalidated. We don't want it anymore. Won't remove it from the system, but you can almost, the new version can go back in time and then forward in time, whatever you need to do. And there's lots of things you can do in here. You can actually have a whole email folder, and 12D Synergy can recognize that these are emails that you've been filing. So, the columns here are different. Subject, to, and from, and sent date, attachments, and you can see previews of those emails as well. So you can look for stuff really quickly, and as you search, they're going to get highlighted so you can see what's going on. It's designed to be familiar the way Outlook and things like that work. And these emails can be fed in from Outlook, and Outlook can track emails as they come in and basically almost happen automatically. But right now I'm just going to go and have a look at the task list and how you can start to tie those tasks into the work that you're doing. So we've got a really simplistic workflow here about doing a design. So I've got to make sure the survey data is available. That's assigned to the surveyor. And tasks can be assigned to roles. So the surveyor, as the surveyor changes, the assignment will change with it, or to individual people if that suits your needs. I've got to prepare the 12D model projects. That's my job. So I've got to create the projects, which I've kind of done, and I've got to add some shared survey data. And you'll notice over here it is actually telling me when it's due. So this is the task window. There's a lot of information here. You don't need all of it. And we'll go through tasks in more detail during the Birds of a Feather session. But ultimately what this is showing me is that there's some dependencies on this job, and also that there's some associations. So it's saying to me that this design job is where I should be sharing the data into, and this is where it should come from. And this has two benefits. One, I can just jump over there straight away. Here I am. And to use this, I can just hit open. It's a blank project. It's going to ask me what version of 12D model I want to use, what dongle, and all that sort of stuff. And then I can just hit open. Now it says, what do I want to do? Do I want to check it out? So if I don't check it out, again, it's a sort of read-only copy. Can't change anything, can't save it, can't do anything like that, can't check it in. So I will check it out. Gives me what I need. And then you're in 12D model. And now it's largely familiar, right? You know how to use 12D model. But what I'm actually going to do is I might go and share my survey tin in. So it's a little bit different here because now you have a sort of source box that says where do you want it from. You either get it from the file system or you get it from 12D Synergy. You only see those if you have 12D Synergy installed. So I'm going to go and pick my survey job. So this is now a 12D Synergy dialog that's popped up, and it knows where I am. It knows I'm in a 12D model project within 12D Synergy. I don't have to hunt it down. It's all there for me. I can select that. And then it starts to look familiar again. I'll just pick my tin. So that's all easy. There's my tin. So what I'm going to do is just save this, check it in, Again, prompted for a description, it tells me how many files changed, which ones were new, etc., etc. I've got the option to keep my checkout status as well, which is really important. If you're producing data that other people are sharing, you don't want to let the project go, but you want to publish that data out, you can. And you can do that live from 12D model as well. I'll do a daily check-in, hit check-in. Now this is the important thing, because all of a sudden it said, hang on, you actually have something related to this. There's a task that was about something that you've just done. So straight away I can just say, well actually I did complete this job that says add a shared survey data. Hit close, hit set, and that goes in. Now what's actually happened is my task list is updated because I finished that job. And if I go up here, this is now finished. And do the design job, which is assigned to the design engineer. That's started automatically. He's now got an email that says, this is for you now. The job that you were waiting for is done. So this is just about how you can tie those processes together and how important they become, because all that information just starts to fly around and everyone is, pretty much kept up to date. That's really all we're going to go through in terms of a demo right now. And as I said, we'll go through a little bit during the birds of a feather. So I wanted to note that it's fully documented. We've got guides for everything about how to get started. If you're an advanced user, we've got administration guides, we've got 12D model management guides. We've got training provided, we've got a support portal set up, which is like the user forums. We've got telephone support and email support. So during those birds of a feather sessions today, you're going to see some technical in-depth demos. There'll be a question and answer session, and they're going to be repeated every session. So if you get a chance, please do come along. Thanks very much.